Hey man, how are you?
Good. You hear me all right?
I can, yes.
All right, good deal. So thanks again taking the time to do this. I know everything's been kind of crazy over this last like 2 years really with the pandemic. So tell me how's it been on your end, I guess, with things?
Well, it was the best. I think for me, it was the best thing ever. Not to diminish, the loss that we've had, certainly around the world. But for me, I mean, I was home for 20 months being a father and a husband. I haven't been able to do that ever. I mean, I've been on the road for 30 years, or well, 28 years, but so being a dad and a teacher, and a husband, and learning how to make bread and learning how to enjoy, Boz Scaggs and classic, beautiful yacht rock. I
Nice.
mean, it was a nice break for me. Fortunately, I stayed away from COVID. None of us got it. I lost 3 friends last year to it, sadly.
Sorry to hear.
But yeah, I mean, well, I think we all have. I think we've all experienced someone that we know that's no longer with us because of it. But for me, it was a great change, for just for my emotions and my internal spirituality.
Was it almost like, I guess, kind of like you said, more introspective, like you seen more of the big picture when you had all that time to reflect?
Yeah, it was very introspective. I mean, it was. I think it's funny. I've talked to several people about it. They've said, "What were you listening to during the pandemic?" And I went to what was familiar. I went to what took me back to, my childhood, in Kansas, in Texas, before moving to Seattle. And that was, you know, that kind of, I'm not joking, Boz Scaggs' Pandora Station, which, plays everything from Roxy Music to, Journey and Neil Young and Blondie. I mean, it took me right back to when I was a little kid, and it made me feel very, very safe. And I think that's what I needed to do. I needed to remember who I am, what my responsibilities are, remember what my family means to me, my mom, my brothers, my sister, those relationships that I hold, sometimes, a little bit far away from myself, that I need to hold close. And that's what I did. I just went to something that was very familiar.
Did it change anything too with the, I guess, kind of the longevity of things with the album? Because I know
Oh
that
yeah.
it definitely a long period of time. I mean, we waited, what was it, about 5 years, but I'm sure the album probably would have released a lot sooner had we not been hit with what we got hit with.
Yeah, the record's supposed to come out last September. So, it's delayed by a year. But that's okay. I mean, I think it gave us, everybody in the band, time to, get to know the songs, because we recorded this record live, which, we don't always do. So the beauty of recording live is you get this kind of anxiousness that you find on the record, the aggressiveness, the push and pull, that you don't normally get if you're tracking individually. So I think that, for me to put that on hold and allow the record to just kind of, breathe with me for a while, made me very, very proud of it. I love Wolves. I think this is probably one of the best Candlebox records ever made. I love the writing on it. I love the playing on it. I love the production. I don't think there's one dud on this record, and I'm happy that that it's doing well. But I'm mostly, I'm glad we didn't put it out last year, because I would not have been able to support this record. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people kind of forget about bands is when we release an album, really you've got to hit the road to support that thing. And that's really the only way that anybody hears new music anymore. If you're a band like Candlebox, we're certainly not getting radio play from, all the popular radio stations, so we have to be out there playing this stuff for people to hear it.
So you didn't want to go get Taylor Swift to join in on a song and go all pop oriented?
I would love to do a song with Taylor Swift. Okay. I mean, I think she is so incredibly talented. And I mean, I don't, that girl cannot write a bad song, man. I would love to. I mean, listen, if I could have done a pop song on this record with her, it would have been a fucking dream come true. You know, she's just that talented. But I do have a pop song on this record that I think could cross over into that world, my weakness. But you know, that's just kind of who I am. I love popular music, man. I think that there's great stuff out there. There's obviously a lot of horse shit as well, and a lot of people could say that about Candlebox, I suppose. But you know, I think that that's the beauty of what music does, is it allows you to experience those things. And if you want to, as a musician, certainly if you want to write it. You know, don't stop yourself from it. I mean, when you're given this kind of a gift, it's your responsibility to do something with it. And if that means the next Candlebox record is going to be an entirely, you know, pop Bryan Adams oriented album, it might just be. I mean, I don't know, you know, really. But I wouldn't be afraid of that.
But I think that's part of the reason why fans have like been able to stay on with you for so long, is that you don't really pigeonhole yourself to one sound. Like the album's very cohesive. It's not like you got one song that's completely a standalone from the other. Everything's like, almost seems like it's pitch perfect from beginning to end. So with that said, does that mean that you got a lot of B-sides that never seen the light of day?
No, we're terrible. We are not prolific at all. We everybody's like, oh, when are you releasing the B-sides? I'm like, we had one B-side. I mean, yeah. But I find that when I write music, I'm not a Ben Gibbard, you know, or Ryan Adams, one of these musicians that can just churn out music. It's not part of me. I don't make records until I'm ready, and I only record what I want to record. I think in our entire career, Candlebox has maybe had 5 B-sides out of 7 albums. We're just not that band. Mainly because I find that if I'm beating my head against the wall on a song, or somebody in the band is, it's not worth it. That shouldn't be something we're doing. Art is supposed to be free and exciting and fun. And I think that if you're just trying to shove a fucking square peg into a round hole, you're wasting time. I mean, there's no need for it. That part can't be that important. It's not like you've written, you know, the Battle Hymn of the Republic or something. It's probably just some stupid guitar part that you're trying to force, and it doesn't need to happen. There's always another guitar part. It's always floating around. I mean, Keith Richards says it. There's songs floating everywhere, and you just grab them and go with them. And if they're not working, there'll be another one.
But do you ever find that there's that song that maybe you started a few years back, you go back to it, you kind of fine tune it? Anything like that too?
Yeah, I have tons of riffs. I mean, my phone is full of voice memos and guitar riffs and stuff. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll send that to Adam, my bass player, and say, hey, can you do anything with this? You know, what are your thoughts on that? And he'll make his, you know, attempt at it. Or he'll say, no, but why don't you send it to Island or Brian, see what they come up with. And so that's kind of how we work that out. But then what we'll do is we'll work things out in sound check. So we'll get together on the bus. We'll start talking about parts and things that we like. And I say, well, let's try that at sound check so we can build off of it. And then that's how we do it.
Is there anything of note that you remember that it's gone that process?
Yeah, from start to finish. The Bridge on Disappearing in Airports was a song that started at soundcheck, literally off of a guitar riff that I played into my phone. That was, I mean, I think that song happened in like 20 minutes. Also, Lover Come Back to Me off of Into the Sun. It was a song that I wrote at soundcheck prior to the guys even coming in. I just sat down with a pad of paper. I had this kind of concept in my mind because I was watching the movie Apocalyptica, and my wife had just had a baby, and so I was kind of attached to what was happening in that film, where I was on the road, she had had a child, I wasn't there to protect her from those sorts of things. So I went into to the venue. It was the Hard Rock in Orlando. No, I'm sorry, the House of Blues in Orlando. I sat down on the drum riser, picked up my guitar, wrote the song, and then wrote the lyrics in 30 minutes.
But you didn't perform it right then and there, right?
We did. We performed it that night.
Really? Wow, that's pretty fast turnaround.
Yeah, we do that a lot. We like doing that.
Awesome. So I've recently noticed, maybe I'm wrong, are you linking on to that cruise that's going to Belize?
I am. I'm doing 2 acoustic sets on that one.
Oh, you are? I was going to say, because I was looking up it, I was like, is he really going on it? That's awesome, because I didn't see the band. Is it just you doing a solo thing, or?
It's just me and Brian playing an acoustic set.
Okay.
I don't do solos on a guitar. I'm not that versatile.
Well, that's what I mean, like an acoustic set together.
Yeah, just 2 acoustic sets, just Brian and I, and that's it.
Oh, very cool. You've done that cruise thing, I'm sure, before, right? Or is it the first time?
I've done 2 of the shipped rocked ones. I don't like those. I'll never do those again. I've been very vocal about that company and how they run things. But this is a Danny Wimmer one, and I love Danny's concerts. I think he's a great promoter, and he knows how to do things, and I respect that.
What's kind of the difference between, I mean, being at a normal stage setting and being out at sea? I mean, obviously there's enough that you like to be able to do it again. So I got to imagine.
Well, the hardest thing about it, to be perfectly honest with you, is that you're on this can floating through the water, and everybody can get to you. And I'm a pretty private person. So if I go to the pool, I want to go to the pool and, get my tan. I don't want to, sign a bunch of stuff and talk about records. I mean, that's not what I want to do. So that's the hardest thing about it is having to be, connected and surrounded by, and it's terrible to say because of your fans, but it's also, it's an incredibly, uncomfortable position to be in sometimes as an artist, when you just can't get away. And so that's the most difficult thing about it. But the great thing about it is the shows are amazing and the fans are awesome, so it's just that there's no real downtime on them. That's the difficult thing.
So have you been picking out your disguise?
No.
I mean, we're around Halloween. You never know. You get the right disguise, you can just kind of blend in.
I'll just get one of those big noses and attach it to these.
There you go. So with that said, I know that you got the Florida show tomorrow, right?
We have 2. We have tomorrow, and then we have Orlando on Saturday.
At the WJR, right?
Birthday.
Yeah, very cool. Have you guys been like that far on the Panhandle before? I honestly never even knew of that city until I saw that you guys were there, and I've been through the Panhandle. Yeah,
we've done it several times. Fort Walton Beach, Panama City, Daytona. Florida is a big market for Candlebox. It's always been a great environment for us, and the fans. It's the last of the real rock and roll crowd, I think, Florida, mainly because you guys are crazy, and and I love that. It's like you guys. I mean, Florida man, put in your birthday. I mean, that's crazy to me that actually exists. But Florida's a crazy melting pot, man. And that's why I guess you get those kinds of fans that they love rock and roll music. They want to see you play it, and they just don't give a shit, and sometimes that's a good way to live your life.
Was there ever a fear during all this that the world might not actually get back together and you'd be able to get back on stage and perform?
Well, I think there was hopes that it would, clear up obviously sooner than it did. But that, you can blame that on the previous administration. But I think the reality of it is in our hearts as a band, we had several conversations, several Zoom meetings about the future of what was going to be Candlebox, and that was a strange thing. I had never gotten to the point where I felt as though maybe it was time to put it away. That's an odd feeling to have. I've thought about my future of shutting Candlebox down, but not really being forced into it. And yeah, that was something we had to discuss. And the conversation went well. Everybody was, listen, man, we're there. We'll do what needs to be done. If we don't tour, then we don't tour. Let's just see what happens. And thankfully, we were able to get this vaccine and everything moving forward, and people are healthy. And it's still not. Listen, man, it's not a comfortable process to play these shows. It's still very uncomfortable. It's not normal. You can tell the audience is not allowing themselves to get lost in the music, because they're in the back of your mind is, am I going to get COVID? Do I give a shit about COVID? Is somebody going to give it to me? Am I giving it to somebody, or I just don't care? All of that stuff, you can see it in people's faces. And not only that, but we can feel it as the band, not only from the audience, but from ourselves. It's a strange thing.
So just kind of wrapping it up. I mean, if the music was not still going on, what is Kevin up to? Is it completely family time, or are we kind of reinventing the wheel? What would be going on?
I would probably, I'd be happy just being a dad, man. Like taking my kid to school and helping my wife out at her business. She owns her own clothing line. Just retiring, sort of. Like I've done it. I've been there. I've had the fun. I've paid the bills. Let me just enjoy life for a little while. I've been touring for 28 years, and that last 20 months was, like I mentioned, one of the greatest gifts I've ever had, and it really made me reevaluate who I am as a human being, and a husband, and a father, and a friend. And I think that I'd probably take a little bit more time with those that I'm closest to, seeing if there's anything I can do for them. I've also talked about opening a bar. I love drinking whiskey, and I love music, and I love dive bars. It's kind of what I look for when I'm on the road. If you look at my Yelp search, it's the first thing on my search is dive bar. So I may do that. All that stuff kind of crosses your mind.
With Boz Scaggs just playing in the background.
Boz Scaggs 24/7.
Nice. Well, hey, I know we're excited to have you back in South Florida. Hopefully it comes sooner than later. And I know you're pretty busy with this tour, and getting ready to get your sea legs ready too, if people make it out on that cruise.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, hey, again, appreciate your time, and maybe I'll get you out to a good dive bar next time you're down here.
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
See you, Scott.